Grab a cup of tea or listen as you go, ladies. This is your hour with Dr. Zoe, your life and relationship coach. With encouragement, on-point insight, inspiring guests, health tips, and advice, Dr. Zoe helps busy women keep their mind in the game by redefining your superwoman. You're listening to The Dr. Zoe Show.
Welcome to the Dr. Zoe Show, redefining your superwoman. I'm your host, Dr. Zoe. I'm a licensed psychotherapist with a doctorate in clinical psychology. I'm a life and relationship coach and a motivational speaker, and I can work with you virtually to help you get unstuck. My passion is helping women find their superpower, learn to embrace it, and share it with the world. Connect with me by texting the word JOIN to 38470. I have so enjoyed hearing from you listeners, and get on my newsletter. I send out encouragement most Sundays and just letting you know when my podcast comes out on Tuesday, or you can just check me out by going to my website at drzoeshaw.com. The topic today is why feeling off balance is okay. Do you ever feel off balance? Do you feel like you just can't get that elusive balance in your life? Work-life balance, mama, woman balance, just the balance. We're talking about that today and why that's okay. But first, my win and my fail. So, okay, I've got a fail. What I did was I left my back windshield wipers on auto and I drove myself right through the car wash, past that sign that said, not responsible for distracted women who leave their windshield wipers on. And of course, the darn thing broke. Cost me a few $100s. Yes, a few $100 because I didn't just break off, the windshield wiper. What happened was when I came out, the windshield wiper was like sticking straight out. I was like, that's weird. So I tried to bend it to put it back. The whole thing snapped off in my arm. And just like the little stub was just like weaving back and forth at me. So yeah, that's my fail. Didn't pay attention. Cost me money. And my win. I committed to running a race in July. So I haven't competed in a while. I keep telling myself, it just seems like it's just getting longer and longer. So I haven't competed in a while. And my little secret is that I run, of course, because I enjoy competing. I do. But I also schedule races in to keep me accountable. Just the reality. Without a competition coming up, it's really hard for me to keep motivated. But when I'm thinking, it's a lot easier to run down that track with 130 pounds as opposed to 140 or 150 pounds, it keeps me on track. So my win is I scheduled myself to run a race in July. If you guys don't know, I'm a sprinter, hurdler, trying to get back into the hurdles. And I'm old too. So, I run the masters. But that's my win. So I'm looking forward to it. I will let you know how that goes. So on to the topic, why feeling off balance is okay. This is encouragement for women today. Like I said, if you feel like you just can't get it together, it's okay to feel off balance because balance is not a real thing, y'all. It's not a real thing. And I used to say it all the time. Why can't I get it together? I feel like I would get it together like for a minute and feel like, okay, I've got this ship running smoothly. And then boom, something happened, something dropped. I forgot something, things piled up. And I was always so frustrated until I finally learned and figured out, there's no real such thing as balance. Seriously, where's the scale? Can I get on it? How do I weigh myself? How can you possibly know if you are there? You can't. Balance is just a feeling. It's a construct, right? Just like happiness. You can't measure happiness. I get that. But happiness, just like balance, is a case-by-case scenario and it's fleeting. It's a fleeting feeling. So let's stop trying so hard to do the balance thing, okay? I've said before that when you are succeeding at one thing, you are often failing miserably at another. And it's not about balance. It's really about acceptance, accepting your limitations, accepting your boundaries, accepting that you can't and won't ever get it all right. And this is not a Debbie Downer. I'm here to give you some encouragement and hope because you can rejoice when you make your daughter's event and the business meeting at the same day, when you get home in time to make dinner and you make the date with your husband and it's seamless. But those days are rare. So when you have them, enjoy it, rejoice. But when you don't have them, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. Because the rest of the time, it may be chaotic and it may be crazy. And you'll have people like me telling you that you just need to have balance and you'll be happy. Well, it's hogwash. You'll be happy when you embrace the chaos and you stop trying to feel like you need to be perfect. We all know this on some level, but I'm telling you again because you need to hear it again and again. The key to feeling balanced is not trying to balance it all, but rather to focus, not on balancing, but focus on what grounds you. So think about this. When you're in a yoga class, if you've ever taken a yoga class or even any other thing where you're trying to balance and you're trying to do like some tree pose, what does your instructor tell you about balance? Your instructor says pick a point in front of you and focus on that point. And it works. They never tell you, hey, listen, focus on balancing. Focus on all the things you need to do to balance your body. Focus on the components of your body and how you need to hold this one this way and your leg needs to go here. And think about how hard you have to push this leg into your other leg. If you focus on that, you'll be shaking and in no time you'll fall straight to the ground. No, what they do is they tell you to look outside of yourself. Look outside of all the things your body has to do to balance and instead focus on the one point in front of you. So stop trying to check off all the lists and figure out all the components of balance. Stop trying to figure out what you need to get into place. Instead, pick a point and focus on it, and balance will naturally happen. And so, what should your focus be? What's the one thing that you can't let drop in your life? I'm going to tell you. It's your relationships. What is one of the most grounding things for humans? It's our relationships. We need to, and I said need, to be in relationship with others. Our relationships ground us to our humanity. And there's been so much research about even babies and failure to thrive. I've probably talked about this before without relationships and touch. So juggle all the other stuff. Juggle your meetings and your doctor's appointments and committees and activities. Juggle your workouts even and juggle your self care. All those things are important. Yes, they are. But you can let some of those balls drop from time to time and you'll be okay. I can not do my workout tomorrow morning if I'm staying up too late tonight, and it'll be okay. But you can't let your relationships drop. Yeah, we can make mistakes. We're humans, but you can't drop your relationships. Your relationships are more important than a clean house, than money in the bank, vacations, your car, or even college tuition. And I know it's impossible to have healthy relationships when you aren't taking care of your responsibilities as a parent or a partner to yourself. I get that. I didn't say drop all your responsibilities. I said focus on your relationships. And if some of that stuff drops from time to time, it'll be okay. Now, I'm sure you guess that with all the stuff that I'm doing, people are always asking me, how do you balance it all? How do you do it? I'm, in fact, doing a speech in a couple of weeks called The Balancing Act of Motherhood, where I'm actually going to talk about the fact that there is no balance. There's the secret. And I'm not going to lie. I used to say, oh, you just pick your priorities and you focus on organization. I don't remember what I said. I don't think I said organization, but I would just talk about some things that we can do to try to find balance in our lives as women as if it's possible. Now I say, who says I balance it all? I do it all. I get most of it done most of the time, but there's no balancing act going on here. Honestly, I am falling and I'm getting up and I'm juggling, and I sometimes hit myself in the head with the balls as they drop down to the ground. So today I'm talking to the woman who may be feeling a bit like you can't keep it all together. If you're a mom, maybe you feel like you're failing your kids. Like maybe you weren't even cut out for this. So what can we do? Finding balance is a made up figment of some woman's imagination who wanted to pretend like she had it all together. So since there's no scale, balancing act is internal. There's no perfect program, there's no perfect organization system, although all of those are great. The real balancing act is right here. I'm pointing to my head. It's in your mind. Honestly, that's where your biggest battles always lie. So I'm not going to leave you, of course, without any tips. There are some things that you can do to feel better. understand that this is a season. It may feel like a long season, but it's a season. And this is the season of embracing the beautiful chaos that is your life. You cannot flow in any kind of congruence by trying to be like someone else. Your child, your family, and the world need you to be exactly who you are. They need you to be you. You are good enough. Your child doesn't need a woman who is trying to be the perfect mom, or like Jenny over there, who loves to play crafts with her kids. And Jenny, you go. That is so awesome that you love playing crafts with your kids. I totally admire that, but that's not me. I'm not a crafty person. Your child will be okay if you're not a crafty person either, because your kid needs you to be you, because that is the best version of you that there is that could be. So when you embrace what you feel is your chaos, you let go of expecting yourself to be someone that you aren't, and you can focus on what unique gifts you have to give to the world, and you have them. There's a saying that if you are empty and you have nothing to give, yet you keep on giving, what you are giving is not a gift. This is a big one for women who are seeking balance and feel like they have to check off boxes. And I talk to a lot of women who feel empty, and I've been an empty mom before. We believe that we can still give and they won't notice that we're, empty or tired. We feel like we're sacrificing for our children and that's the right thing to do. And it is. But what they get when we sacrifice, when we're empty, is they get the angry mom, they get the irritable mom, the frustrated and the tired mom or wife, the mom with the blank long stare because you're away in a distant land where there's no spit up and you can go to the bathroom by yourself. Or if your kids are teenagers, there's no chaos or drama going on because you can't give them the best of you. So it sounds good to be the ever sacrificing woman, but what you are giving is not a gift. You're giving to check off a box to feel like you're doing the right thing. And that's not focusing on relationship. Remember, keep your eye focused on relationships. So go ahead and take that minute so that when you come back, you're present and you can be in relationship with your people, with the focus on being in the relationship, not checking off the spending time with my kid box. Another tip is to adjust your expectations. So sometimes we have expectations that the people who love us just can't live up to. When you're able to see and accept the people in your life for who they are and not what you wish they would be, your disappointment begins to dissolve. When your expectations line up with the reality, anxiety doesn't have a breeding ground and it lessens as well. Your relationship with yourself gets better and with others when you're able to stop trying to change those people in your life and instead enjoy them. So it's often that we are looking at the people in our life and going, oh, I wish they would just do this or be more like this, or if they change this. But reality is the people are who they are. If you expect them to do the same thing they always do, always forget to turn out that light or always forget to do that, then you're not hurt when they're not doing the thing. And instead you can go, oh, they're just doing what they always do. This isn't personal. They're not intentionally trying to hurt me. Next, do take a look at those priorities. Always cull them, always take off what you don't need to do. Sometimes we have things that we think are priorities or things that are on our list that are really not necessary anymore. And filter everything, all of your priorities through that relationship lens. Basically, you should have one large ball at the center of your core that is held up by you at all times, and that's relationships. This is the ball, the one ball that you don't juggle because it's too valuable to drop. And like I said before, all the other stuff you juggle. Relationships are constructs, actually. They can't be touched, they can't be addressed on a to do list. So the cool thing is that when I'm telling you to focus on relationships, I'm not talking about having to be at every one of your son's soccer games. I'm not talking about never missing a date night with your husband. Relationship is not about being a stay-at-home mom and not going to work so that you can be with your child all the time. Relationships are not about any of that. Although all of that stuff is good and, some of it has to be done. Relationship is about care. It's about being present when you're with your loved ones. It's about taking the time to get to know them and letting them know that you care to know them. Relationship is so much more than checking off the being with them or doing with them list. And it's all about really the mind. So let me give you an embarrassing example of this. I had to do a speech. I think it was a speech I had to give, and I had to go and get an outfit to wear so I could look cute and feel, good getting up there and doing the speech. And I had to go to the store. I only had a specific amount of time I could go. And unfortunately, all of my laundry balls were not juggled and I didn't have laundry done. My daughter had outgrown clothes anyway. I did literally had nothing to put on that girl to go shopping, but she wanted to go. And so I let her wear a shirt that was too small. I didn't do her hair. I threw some clothes on her that just looked like a mess. And I took her and we had a good time. But while we were at the store, I actually lost her for a minute. I was looking at something and she was behind me. We were talking. So I lost her. So, of course, when you lose your kid, I mean, she was probably like 3. I turn around, she's not there. So then you get desperate and I'm like looking around, like calling her name. And then, like, just right around the corner comes my daughter and a friend of mine. She had seen my daughter. She's like, "Hi, I saw her." My daughter looks a wreck. I'm talking a wreck. And I'm so embarrassed that anybody saw me out with my daughter looking like that. Of course, apparently I wasn't worried about the strangers. Anyway, it was all totally embarrassing. But my point is that in those moments, instead of focusing on what looked like a good mom, which would be my daughter having her hair done and looking all nice, I focused on what was most important, which was the relationship. My daughter and I had a blast going to the store, trying on clothes, doing different things. Of course, I certainly wasn't mom of the year for losing her. And I'm telling you the story first so that maybe you can listen to me and go, well, I'm a better mom than that therapist. Make you feel good about yourself. Or maybe you can go, oh, wow, I'm not the only one. And then also so that you can recognize that in those moments, I could have said, no, you stay home because you look a wreck and I need to go take care of this. Or I could say, you know what? Come along. Let's spend time together. Let's be in relationship and not care about what it looks like. So I dropped a few balls that day, but not the relationship ball. And that is the balancing act of motherhood, if there is one. So you go and enjoy your beautiful chaos. Next up is health tips. I have a health tips segment because our bodies and our minds are intimately connected, and you can't have health in one without health in the other. Today's tip is that gratitude can reduce depression for real. What are you grateful for? So, yeah, we all know that gratitude is awesome and we know it's a good thing. Everybody practices it, but it really affects your brain at the biological level. I assume you've heard of the antidepressant Wellbutrin. Wellbutrin boosts the neurotransmitter dopamine, but so does gratitude. The benefits of gratitude start with the dopamine system because feeling grateful actually activates the brainstem region that produces dopamine. Also, gratitude towards others increases activity in the social dopamine circuits, which makes social interactions more enjoyable. That's why you like to be social. And you know what Prozac does? Prozac boosts the neurotransmitter serotonin. But guess what? So does gratitude. A powerful effect of gratitude is that it boosts serotonin. Trying to think of things that you're grateful for forces you to focus on the positive aspects of your life. And this simple act of focusing increases serotonin production in the anterior cingulate cortex. Now, sometimes life just sucks sometimes. It lands you a horrible punch in the gut and it feels like there's nothing to be grateful for. But guess what? Here's the crazy kicker. It doesn't matter. You don't have to find anything. It's the searching that counts. It's not finding gratitude that matters most. It's remembering to look for it in the first place. And gratitude doesn't just make your brain happy. It can also create a positive feedback loop in your relationship. So just think about being grateful. Even if you come up with nothing, it'll still make you feel better. And my guess is that over time, you're going to find something. And now it's time for Real Talk. This is Real Talk where I answer questions from my listeners and I share my own musings and encouragement. Hey, reach out and ask me a question. I love to answer questions on the show. I answer questions at thegritandgraceproject.org. So reach out to me. All the questions are anonymous. I take your confidentiality seriously as if you were my own client. You can email questions to Zoe at drzoe.com. And this question was curated from my column at thegritandgraceproject.org. I have 2 friends in my mom group that are bickering, gossiping about each other to other friends in our group. I don't like to get involved in gossip or other women's drama. However, I feel that these women will say I'm not being a loyal friend. What do I do? I thought high school had ended. Thanks. Yeah, sometimes high school continues. Reality is, we've all gossiped at some time in our lives. I know that I have. My hand is raising right now. Some people make whole careers of it. But I'm just going to say, gossiping is a sign of immaturity, and it should be a habit that a woman matures out of. Now, time alone does not create maturity and wisdom. And I know that if you observe people for long enough, you'll encounter 20-year-old wise women and you'll encounter 80-year-old immature women. But you're not being a good friend or demonstrating maturity if you participate in this drama. So when it comes to gossip, Eleanor Roosevelt said it best. She said, "Great minds talk about ideas, average minds talk about events, and small minds talk about people." So when you get involved in the drama between 2 people, in the world of psychology, we call that triangling. When someone's feeling threatened, they'll often seek to triangle another person in for support. But the person triangling is also just as likely to throw that third person under the bus, depending on what's going on between the 2 original people. Remember, whatever you say can and will be used against you in the court of girl drama. And triangling just increases the drama, and it's never good for anybody. So don't do it. Don't get involved. Whenever you notice that someone's trying to bring you in their conflict, politely sidestep and keep on walking. And the easiest way to do this is to simply say something like, "Did you talk to them about that?" Usually you might get a blank stare or you're going to get like a surprised look because they had no intention of talking to the other person. They just wanted to complain or gossip. And eventually when they say no, then you could say, "Well, I think you should say something to them because maybe they don't know you have an issue with that." And then quickly change the subject. You're sending the wise message that the healthiest way to address conflict is to go directly to the person you have an issue with. And believe me, they'll get the message loud and clear, and they'll either take you up on your advice or more than likely they're going to find somebody else to gossip with. But what you don't want to say is something like, "Oh, I don't like gossip," because really that just shames the person and that's not necessary. Very few people grow from being shamed, and it just makes you look like you think you're better than they are. But when you set healthy boundaries by not participating in the gossip, you're modeling healthy behavior and you're still being a really good friend. So try that out. And until next week, thanks for tuning in to the Dr. Zoe Show. New shows go up on Tuesdays. Subscribe so you don't miss a show. If you're interested in coaching or therapy or you just want to get a little more help, go to my website at drzoeshaw.com. You can schedule a free consultation with me, or you can check me out on any of my social medias at the handle Dr. Zoe Shaw. Join my free newsletter by texting the word JOIN to 38470, and I look forward to speaking with you wonderful ladies on social media throughout the week. Have a great week.
You've been listening to The Dr. Zoe Show, redefining your superwoman, with your host, Dr. Zoe Shaw. Don't forget to sign up for her monthly newsletters to get encouragement, tips, and skills for keeping your mind in the superwoman game. Connect with her now at www.drzoeshaw.com. Tell your friends and subscribe to her podcast on iTunes. Join us next time for another edition of The Dr. Zoe Show.